Baked milk is a food that is popular in East Europe and Russia. Its origin dates far into history, when it was produced on wood stoves that warm cabins through the long cold days and nights. Baking the milk gives it a delicious natural caramel flavor, and it condenses and sterilizes the milk. So baked milk can keep considerably longer than ordinary milk in a refrigerator and can even last up to 2 days at room temperatures. Though we keep dairy goats at our homestead, we have long since converted the last of our milk into cheese, also to help it keep. And so the milk that we have now is organic bagged goat milk we acquired from the grocery in the village. Due to the need for social distancing with the pandemic that is sweeping the world, we have to make everything last. We won't have fresh goat milk till the goats freshen, after they bear their does, so we're going to convert the last of our milk reserves into baked milk. It takes quite a few hours to make on a wood stove, but the preparation is simple. You are just going to heat the milk to around boiling and hold it at that temperature for 8 to 12 hours. You can either place it directly inside of an oven to heat somewhere between 220 and 250 degrees Fahrenheit, or you can rig a double boiler on top of a stove as we have done here. If using the oven method, just leave it undisturbed for 6 to 8 hours till it forms a golden crust on top of the milk. When using the stove method, go back and stir it every couple hours as you see Daphne doing here, and dissolve that skin back into the milk. I find it improves the flavor. As you do this, you can take advantage of free space on the stove to cook other meals. Here, Daphne is baking a pork and cheese pie in a Dutch oven. I bought a side of pork from a farmer late last summer, and with all the chaos in the world, I'm glad we have it. We're about 4 hours into the baking process now, and the skin is becoming more solid. It wants to hold together better now and is more difficult to stir in, but it can still be stirred in a couple more times. You can see as Daphne stirs it, the milk has lost its whiteness and is just beginning to take on the golden color that indicates the milk solids are cooking. And if you look at the edge of the bowl, you can see that the milk level is about half an inch lower now. That's from water evaporating away. Making the milk denser is one of the things that helps it to keep. Just before we go to bed, we stir in the skin for the last time. The milk is now about 3/4 of an inch lower and has acquired a bit more of a golden hue. I believe the milk is now adequately baked, but I want more of the water to evaporate away. This will enhance its flavor and help it to keep. But if you were so inclined, you could consider the baked milk done and remove it from the heat. Or, if you want it to keep a bit longer and bring out even more flavor, you can ferment the milk. To do this, just let the milk cool to somewhere between 90 and 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and add about a teaspoon of yogurt or sour cream, and the bacteria will ferment it over the next 6 to 12 hours, depending on temperature. After spending the night over a cool fire, the milk has continued to slow bake, and you can see that it has formed a wonderfully thick, latex-like skin. The skin itself is delicious, and I've heard that in Eastern Europe and Russia, it is considered a treat to eat it right out of the pot. Daphne's going to set it aside though, and tonight I'm going to make milk fudge out of it. You can also see that about 2 inches of the water has evaporated away, leaving the milk now very dense. A gallon of milk yields about a cup of the delicious crust, and the cultured milk has continued to cook very slowly over the low heat, becoming even more golden brown. Unfermented baked milk has the consistency of condensed milk, but if you've added a bit of yogurt or sour cream, the lactic bacteria, Lactobacillus delbrueckii, will convert the milk to a texture something like a wet yogurt, and the cooked and caramelized amino acids and sugars give it a lovely caramel flavor. I enjoy adding it to hot tea for a beverage that there is nothing else like.